Redhead routine, the control switch. So this could be a range of things. Maybe you missed a shot. The email has made your blood boil. You're on the receiving end of what feels like horrendous news. Everything feels overwhelming and you just don't know where to start. Your heart, your mind racing. What now? Let's flick the switch by executing a performance routine that turns chaos into order. I'm going to guide you through an example redhead control switch routine, outlining the series of steps that Outliers undertake to regulate negative emotion, anxiety, fear, frustration, so that they can bounce back fast. The routine, it normally starts like this. All is going fine, then all of a sudden, whack. Something's happened, triggering the negative emotion. That's okay. Negative emotion is part of performance and part of life, and acknowledging that's really important. The focus, however, is of course on flicking the control switch and bouncing back fast. And you got 3 areas you're going to need to optimize. First, where you focus your attention, you need to bring your attention away from the stressor and into the present. Second, your energy expenditure. You're going to want to dial that right down. And third, the quality of your emotions. You want soothing, calm, positive emotion. However, the first step is to congratulate yourself. Emotional control always begins with awareness. The awareness that you're in redhead or a suboptimal state is your first victory. So the second you're aware, you need to congratulate yourself on winning that first battle. It's spotting that flash of lightning before the storm hits that gives you the chance to avoid it altogether, or at the least, get out its way. The next thing you want to think is pause. Don't text back, don't take the call, don't slam the door, don't try to fix it yet. You need to let the storm settle before you react. Just pause for a moment and just let the world spin without you for a moment. Much of what you say and think at this point will be extreme or exaggerated. And your mood, it's temporary. But once your words, messages, or emotions are out there, you cannot put them back. Next up, we're going to initiate action. As soon as you've noticed you're not where you want to be emotionally, you need to act. By initiating action, you take ownership of the situation. And the immediate dialogue of your emotional brain when redhead strikes looks like, I can't get out of bed. This is so unfair. I'm going to kill him. Your first objective is to intercept this pattern of thinking, overriding your emotional brain before it can get too much momentum. A great way to do that is with a distraction countdown. This goes something like, on my count of 5, get up and clap your hands. And maybe you wrap that up with a clap. And you'll see lots of athletes engage in either a clap, slapping their thighs, or putting their arms in the air. And by following that simple routine, 2 amazing things happen. First, you've just given yourself time to pause. Second, you've given yourself distraction from the event. Now, you're all different. If you prefer to count from 10 to 1, 3 to 1, slap your thighs, stretch up and out, do whatever works for you. You need to make these routines your own. But sometimes just counting to 10 can even allow a storm to pass. Your next objective is to get a grip of your attention. If you're thinking about the future or thinking about the past, then you're not thinking about what you're doing right now in the present, which is where you want your attention to be. You're going to grip it and take it there by using a series of grounding exercises. Grounding is basically all about reconnecting you to the present by bringing your attention to a very specific point. Again, let's try it on now. In your head or out loud, I want you to answer the following questions. First, I want you to recite your name, your age, where you are, who else is there. Now, I want you to just notice. Simply notice 5 things you can see. By doing so, you're putting yourself into the present, one detail at a time. Anything that grabs your attention is fine. And next, 4 things you can hear. Then 3 things you can feel, 2 you can smell, and maybe 1 thing you can taste. Using your senses, sight, hearing, smell, touch, taste, like you just have, allows you to very quickly bring your attention away from the past or the future and reconnect your brain and body into the present moment. If this is landing, good. That means you're ready. This isn't entertainment, it's your edge. Use it. Hit like, subscribe. Let's move. Now, I want to talk about posture. Your next aim is to switch off the stress hormones that fuel negative, anxious feelings. And then we're going to drive feelings of positivity and calm. A really quick, easy way to initiate this is through optimizing your posture. In as little as 60 seconds, it's been proven that through optimizing your posture, you can reduce the production of the stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline, and increase the super six feel-good chemicals. The serotonin, anandamide, oxytocin, endorphins, dopamine, and norepinephrine that characterize blue head or flow states. So right now, if you're slouching, fix it. If your chin is tucked, fix it. If your neck is bent, fix it. If your arms and legs are crossed, spread them wider now. Occupy some space. Widen your stance. I don't want your hands anywhere near your face. I want you to pull your shoulders back to lift your chest. Relax through your arms. Soften your brow. Lift your chin up and hold your head high. And smile. Even if you don't feel like it, smile now. And if you can't bring yourself to do that, perhaps put a pen or pencil in your mouth. It will elicit the same effects. By optimizing these body positions, your brain will start to give you the good chemicals. So if you followed my instructions so far, right now your brain is beginning to switch off the adrenaline taps and has activated the release of the feel-good chemicals. And in this case, your biology can lead your psychology. Are you still with me? Good. You want to continue optimizing your energy, hacking your hormone levels. Now you're going to do that by focusing on your breathing. You need to control your breathing, or your breathing will control you. This is one of the fastest ways to shift the hormone levels in your brain. You're going to inhale for a count of approximately 4 before exhaling with a loud audible sigh for a count of approximately 8 seconds, with a slight pause at the bottom of that breath. I'm going to count you through the first breath now. You can close your eyes if you want. I want you to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pausing for a moment at the top of that breath, and then exhaling with a loud audible sigh for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And again, a nice, slow, steady pause at the bottom of that breath. And you can continue to repeat that cycle in a time that works for you. Pulling the air in slow and steady, filling your lungs, pausing at the top of the breath, exhaling nice and slow for approximately 2 times longer than whatever your inhale was. So if you're inhaling for 4, your exhale's approximately 8. If it's 6, maybe that's 12. And again, that slow pause at the bottom of the breath. The exhale's just like a wave crashing back into the ocean. And again, as you do this, just remember that slight pause at the top and at the bottom of the breath, and just continue to keep that pattern going as we proceed through the rest of this routine. Nice work and well done if you've given that a go. When your breath is short, shallow, and irregular, it stimulates the production of the 3 stress hormones, and subsequently, your mind and body will be all over the place. When your breath is deep and stable, so are you. You stimulate the production of those super 6 neurochemicals we talked about earlier that make you feel good. Consequently, the trajectory your mind will set is calm and controlled. And the sigh just fills your lungs with more than your normal breath would, which helps oxygenate your brain and body. And it gives you that relieving effect through stimulating your vagus nerve, which is one of the only ways you can consciously signal to your emotional brain to relax, lowering your heart rate and your blood pressure in the process. For that reason, I want you to try and retain this pattern of breathing for the rest of this session. I'd consider to continue the counting too in terms of the breaths inhale and exhale. And it's great because it occupies your attention, and that makes it difficult for your emotional brain to regain any momentum. The work we've done so far should have halted your emotional brain from running riot. Now it's time to bring some logic to the party, and you can start with getting some perspective. Now you're moving towards the eye of the storm. It's time for you to start getting some perspective on the situation you're in. First up, I want you to remember that in Redhead, your emotional brain will overestimate the challenge in this moment. Secondly, in Redhead, you'll tend to forget that your emotional state is temporary. Just like all the great things that happen, this negative event and these negative feelings, they will pass. Thirdly, you need to remember that the feelings you're experiencing physically and emotionally are perfectly normal. No one gets to avoid this. No one. And anyone that says otherwise is a psychopath, dead, or a liar. So give yourself the permission to be human. You're not special in this respect. Equally, there's nothing wrong with you. Fourth, excellence is volatile and there are no straight lines to the top. Maybe you're losing. Maybe you mess something up, or maybe you're behind schedule. It's not totally unexpected. You will mess up from time to time. This is par for the course. 5, failure, challenge, and uncertainty is also potential for improvement. For the most part, challenges help you identify areas you can optimize and can lead you to make crucial corrections that lead you to adapting to a superior level. When you begin acknowledging these points, they act like a release valve, reducing your perceptions of the demands that are being imposed on you. To continue using logic in this form of what we call Socratic dialogue, you can think of it as a mental Q&A to assist you in transitioning the power supply from your emotional brain back to your frontal and unconscious brain. And I want you to ask yourself the following questions. 1, how many times have you encountered this emotional state before? 2, how many times has it been useful? 3, how often have the causes actually been as catastrophic as you thought they might be? It's highly unlikely the outcomes aren't going to be anywhere near as bad as you potentially think. 4, how might this situation affect you in a month? How will this situation affect you in a year? And will this situation affect you in 3 years? These questions aren't just mental exercises. They're like opening windows in a stuffy room, letting fresh air in. With every answer, you're showing your emotional brain the exit. You're proving to yourself logically, irrefutably, that this feeling is temporary. This challenge is manageable, and this moment is not defining, and that it's time to start letting it go. The best don't guess. They run systems. Gold medalists, special forces commanders, billion-dollar investors. In Accelerating Excellence, the podcast, they break down how. Link below. Great job so far. Now, how are you feeling? I want you to stick with me. If you followed the process so far, changes will be en route. There is, of course, always a lag with any action and outcome. So stick with it. You're getting there. Next on our list is that voice in your head. You know the one. It's how you're talking to yourself. The way you talk to yourself impacts the way you feel. And there are 3 things I want from you right now. First up, when you say, I am stressed, I am frustrated, I am furious, you're turning a passive moment into an identity. You're wearing it like a name tag. I'm stressed. And that's not what you are. It's what you're feeling. You need to flip this to, this is tense. This is annoying. This is stressful. This is, quite accurately, states that your challenges are temporary, which of course they are. You're not the problem. This moment is, and it's about to pass. 2, I want you to replace I can't with I don't know how yet. The former slams the door shut, suggesting that the situation is final, which is not true. There is always a solution out there, And it's your responsibility now to find it, which you will. Every problem has a solution, else, by definition, it's not a problem. It's just a fact of life. It doesn't mean it'll be easy, but there is always a solution. And if you bring the right strategy and effort, you'll find it. And by the way, that's exactly what you're doing by being here now, executing on this. Third, I want you to replace negative actions like stop looking down. You look so nervous. This locks your brain on nervous. With positive actions like lift your chin, look up, and make eye contact. Focusing on the threat encourages victimhood and triggers more redhead. Rather than things to avoid, give yourself positive actions to achieve. Focus on the goal. This draws your energy and attention to the solution and the opportunity that lies within it, which is to display confident behavior and get back on top, which is exactly what you're doing. Next up, we're going to make your problem smaller. When you perceive that your demands exceed your capacity, the product is redhead. Therefore, one way to get back into the green or blue is to reduce your demands. One way you can lighten the load is by adjusting your time frame and your expectations. If you can't think about tomorrow because right now it's just too overwhelming, that's fine. Don't. Narrow your focus down to what you feel you can cope with, even if it's just the next breath. Focus on taking that next breath. Then maybe you can focus on the next 10 seconds. From there, perhaps the next minute, and so on. You can build victory by focusing one tiny step at a time. Another option is to just forget about it for now. Everything screams urgent and important in Redhead. Reality is, it's probably not. So if it's not urgent and important, just park it. A third option is to temporarily lower your standards. When something feels too stressful, terrifying, or you're blocked and the answers aren't flowing, you need to temporarily lower your standards to a threshold that you can confidently deal with and that you're actually prepared to deal with, no matter how small or low that might be initially. And for people like us who set high expectations, most of the pressure you'll feel is self-imposed. And you must remember that the reality is that you at 50% is probably enough to progress your situation forward. Option 4, reduce the size and scale of the challenge. It's highly likely you're trying to do too much in one go. You don't have to swallow the whole apple. One bite will do for now. Your level of stress can be attributed to the complexity of your problems. And breaking a complex problem down means that solutions become easier to find. So instead of writing the presentation, solving the problem, replying to the email, just write down the 5 to 10 things the presentation, the problem, the email needs to cover. That's fine for now. The aim is to move from one insurmountable challenge to a series of achievable bites, a long list of easy wins. And as you do this, your perceptions of the battle you face will gradually shrink. You'll start to lean in, to commit, and that glint in your eye will return. And then suddenly, there you are, back in the fight. Small wins can spiral you back on track so fast, growing your appetite for the next challenge. So cut the challenge down to size, deconstructing it into smaller and smaller challenges. A fifth option. In Redhead, you zero in on the problem or the first solution that comes to mind. And this makes it really hard to consider alternative options. The reality is that the challenges in front of you have a variety of solutions. So now I'm going to throw you a series of questions that will bump start the creative problem solving part of your brain. So ask yourself, what would the solution look like if it was simple? What is the last thing the opposition, competition, or enemy would expect you to do? If you only had a day to deliver the result, how would you do it? What could magic away this problem? More money, more time, a bigger network, temporarily working like a Spartan? How could you eliminate parts of the problem? Whatever the problem, you're probably not the first and almost definitely won't be the last. And sometimes it's not how, but who. Who has solved this problem before? Who could you ask for help? Who could you delegate it to? Big problems don't need big solutions. They need smart ones. Right, good work so far. To recap, you've interrupted the emotional cascade and slowed the onslaught. Benefits are coming. You've also activated your frontal logical brain to start taking back control. Again, benefits are en route. There's always a lag. You need to stick with this. We're going to keep building momentum, this time by providing a structure for action. Whatever the challenge, there are always opportunities to counter, innovate, and overcome. It's all very well afflicting or deflecting opponents' punches, but to excel, you must be ready to strike back and exploit the opportunity presented. This is called countering. In boxing, the counter punch immediately follows an attack launched by the opponent that exploits the opening created in their guard. With the counter attack front and center, this is about you engaging your offensive spirit and activating your predatory blue head, transcending you from the rabbit in the headlights to a lion on the hunt. And as you do so, you'll release more and more psychological firepower. The blue head hormones that are the catalyst for creative breakthroughs, problem solving, along with the confidence and motivation to find a way forward, even if only a trickle to begin with. So how do we do this? Well, one way is through adopting your alter ego. You know what you need to achieve, and you know the behavior needed to achieve it. But sometimes you might just feel conflicted or insecure about exhibiting certain behaviors. Enter your alter ego, providing you with some interpersonal distance that can make you feel more comfortable exhibiting what those behaviors might be. And this can help you amplify those sparks of positivity and proactivity. So how do we do it? Take a moment to pick someone optimized to overcome the challenge at hand. This could be you at your absolute best, you in your prime, or someone you look up to, a friend, a fictional character, a colleague, a celebrity, a family member. I want you to try this now. Select someone. Someone better, not perfect, is fine. Right, whoever you've picked, I want you to reflect now. What does this person say to themselves? How do they stand? What are they thinking? How would they feel? What behavior would they demonstrate to seize control? What opportunities would they be seeing in this situation? And what actions would they be considering taking? Now, if you're following me through this routine, you should be feeling a greater sense of calm and control. And your energy and attention should be appropriately directed now towards finding solutions. But to really grip this situation, next, you have to behave to become. Excellence is no accident. It's engineered. If you're serious about becoming everything you're capable of, accelerating excellence is your blueprint. No more guesswork. The system's in the book. Link below. The secret behind people that appear to be all over life is that they don't wait to feel great before they get after it. They just do it. They know that their feelings follow their actions. You need to change your behavior first, and trust me that your feelings will follow. You could call this fake it till you make it, but starting is the hardest part, and you gain momentum as you go. In physics, activation energy is the initial spark needed to catalyze a reaction. The same activation energy, both physical and psychological, is needed for you to overcome your inertia and kickstart you into action. The message is, if you want to feel more confident, smile, look others in the eye, ask questions, or if you want to get more work done, sit down and do some, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Or if you want to work hard, ignore distractions, actively listen, and go the extra mile. The key thing is that when you don't have confidence, resilience, or motivation, it's actually easier to behave yourself into these states rather than think your way. By regulating the action, which is under your direct control, you can indirectly regulate the feeling, which is not. It might feel like action follows feeling, but really action and feeling go together. This acts as a complete interruption, allowing you to take control. So in order to maintain your positive trajectory and to continue to build, what you need to do now is decide on what you're going to do to profit from this challenge you've encountered. And I'm going to give you 4 options. All 4 are a form of taking action, activating your predatory circuitry. The one thing you can't do is nothing. Inaction is not an option for you. So, option 1, take action. If something obvious has jumped into your head, now is the time to execute on it. Anxious feelings are very often your unconscious mind prompting you to take action and deal with the challenge in front of you. You'll probably find that as soon as you take action, the negative feelings will begin to subside. If there's something obvious you can do that popped into your head that you want to do and that you feel capable of doing, then go and do it. Alternatively, take ownership of your immediate environment. If you're in the office, training ground, or at home, look around. Look around for something that needs fixing. Then I want you to get up and fix it. Make your bed, write your to-do list, draft an email, write for 2 minutes, make a call. Again, fixing something, no matter how small, will give you that spike in the Super 6 feel-good hormones. This is what catalyzes a small win that can very quickly spiral upwards. Option 2, download. If there are no obvious areas of attack right now, then that's fine. Another option for you is to download your thoughts and feelings to yourself through a journal, notes on your phone, or a call to a friend, colleague, family member. You know how the saying goes, a problem shared is a problem halved. Sometimes letting the emotional brain tire itself out before attempting to domesticate it is the most sensible option. So expressing the emotion can act like a release valve that allows the emotional brain to enter a state where it will listen to reason or just switch off entirely. This could be a 60-minute download to a friend, a 5-minute riff to a colleague in the office. Your only obligation is to choose wisely, someone you trust who's not going to allow you to wallow in your own self-pity. For now, I recommend keeping it private, safe, and only if you've controlled the arousal. Option 3, the physical check-in. This part is so important. It can almost act as a routine in itself. And I want it to become a regular course of action for you throughout your day, almost like brushing your teeth is. It should almost be your instant go-to whenever you feel the onset of redhead. And the reason is a thudding heartbeat, racing mind, sweat streaming down your brow. This is not necessarily anxiety. However, when you experience these symptoms, your emotional brain starts to search for predictions to explain all these physical sensations. So if it's 3 o'clock and something has kicked off and your only source of fuel for the day so far is the 4 Americanos you consumed, 150 milligrams plus of caffeine per hit, because you skipped breakfast and missed lunch, and now you're jogging on the spot with steam coming from your ears, you probably don't need to question your existential dilemmas. Instead, you need to answer the following questions. 1, are you breathing properly? You should be, seeing as about 10 minutes ago you've been instructed to. But if you're not, fix it now. 2, how thirsty are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being zero thirst, chances are, if you're below 7, you could be up to 2% of your body weight dehydrated. This can reduce your ability to think by up to and over 20%. Fix it now. Go and hydrate. I know so many Olympic programs where athletes literally get fined if they don't have a bottle of water at arm's length. That's how important this is. 3, do you need to go to the toilet? Quite simply, restricting the urge to go is going to spike your blood pressure and your stress hormones. If so, deal with that now. 4, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hungry are you? If you're below a 6 or 7, your blood sugar could be low. This is going to leave you extremely susceptible to negative emotions and has terrible effects on your decision making. Go and eat something. 5, are you putting away too much caffeine? Caffeine is a stimulant. Its jittery effects are the same as those you experience in a frightening event. So if you've hit the redhead routine, let's cut it out for the next 24 hours at least. And look, the message with all of this is that you must listen to your brain and body. They can trigger hunger, thirst, that you need to go to the bathroom, or some quiet time, but you have to act on what they're telling you. Your 4th and final option, engage your mind. At this stage of the control switch routine, your aim is to continuously, positively Continue activating your brain's calm, controlled trajectory, the one you've just set. This could include a nice calm walk alone or with a friend. It could include exercise, listening to music that conjures energy, prayer that summons strength, story that inspires positivity, or a conversation that rallies confidence. They all have the power to make the hair on the backs of our necks stand up. Music can perform the function of a time machine. A single song, the lyrics, tempo, mood can take you back to a time or place or set of emotions like nothing else can. Classical music has been proven to deactivate the stress hormones that we associate with redhead. The intricate patterns and gradually unfolding textures can be the perfect soundtrack for decompression and calm. Prayer is another obvious act that can bring you into the moment, bringing hope, showing gratitude, narrowing your focus into the now. Inspiring TED Talks or YouTube clips from expert performers, podcast interviews with inspirational, poignant talks that resonate with you can be effective ways for you to flick the switch and bounce back too. And you can check out the podcast section of this page for plenty of that. The key thing is that your connection with the material is meaningful and it's bespoke to you. You are the expert on you. And if you want a task or something to do to engage your mind, you can even go and create your own emotional control playlist on Spotify, YouTube, or Audible right now. Look, hopefully by now your negative emotions are starting to subside and you have less negative energy coursing through you. Maybe you've even felt a few jolts of positive energy return. If you followed this example control switch routine and given it a go, congratulations on being the sort of person that identifies they have a challenge at hand and takes control of the situation by initiating action like you just have. That alone is why I know you're going to ultimately get through the challenges you'll be presented with and emerge way stronger than you went into them. The vast majority act like they're slaves to their emotional state. If you followed this routine, you haven't. So congratulations, you're now in an exclusive group of people that don't wallow in their own self-pity. You identify your problems and you do something about it. This is outlier behavior. And the thing I love most about this routine is that every time you follow the process, you literally rewire your brain's default pattern response for dealing with challenge. And the more you follow, the stronger this skill will get. And eventually it will just become your default response to any challenge you're presented with. So every time you engage in this process, you're rewiring the way your brain responds to challenge. It's like your mind gym. Your psychological fitness for dealing with challenge grows and grows. And there's no end to how far you can take this. Remember, emotional control is a skill. And like any skill, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. The first time is always the hardest. Great things are coming your way. Keep up the good work. And remember, I'm always here to support your journey. Those who excel, they don't hesitate. They move fast, on principle, with intent. Lessons become action. Action becomes momentum. Momentum becomes explosive growth. Start now. Attack your day. Win it. Repeat. Performance shifts, then mindset, then life. Excellence isn't theory, it's fuel. The most powerful force on earth. Chase it down. If this hit, pass it on. Someone out there's waiting for it. I'm in this to see you win. Comments open, links below, like, subscribe. Let's move.